A very beautiful morning. Many thanks for joining us this morning on this segment of Daybreak. We know that Nigerian tax system is confronted with many issues and challenges such as multiplicity of taxes, bad administration, non-availability of database tax touting, complex nature of the Nigerian tax laws, minimum tax commencement, change of accounting date and cessation, and non-payment of tax refunds. And we know recently, how some people, were protesting over overtaxing. They said, in fact, that they were taxed over 30% of what they were supposed to pay. And this morning, we are going to look at the Nigerian tax regime and how it concerns us here in Edo State. This morning, we've been joined in the studio by Patrick Akhimien Idiake, and he is a fellow of the prestigious Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, the Chartered Institute of Taxation, and the Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria. Patrick has had various professional roles, including working with Admiral Overseas Nigeria Limited. He is a principal partner at Idiake and Company and serves as the Chief Executive Officer of Pat Square Farms Limited. That is nice to have you in our studio this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
You're welcome. And my partner is here in the studio with me, Kayode Alwede. Kayode, it's nice to have you in the studio this morning. Now, let's look at the tax regime here. What strategies have been put in place to achieve increased revenue generation?
Well, thank you. Currently, the service we're digitalizing the process, the system, for ease of collecting revenue for the states. Yeah.
Okay, now, talking about collecting revenue for the states, how do you intend to go about that? And are people responding towards paying their taxes the way they are supposed to pay? Or do we still have this system where you go after people to make them pay what they know is their rights to do?
Well, tax is your civic responsibility. You ought to pay taxes. But people are advanced to paying taxes. People don't want to pay taxes. But you have to make it simple. You have to make it interesting for the people to pay these taxes. There must be incentives put in place for them to pay these taxes.
Okay, now what are the incentives put in place to meet these concerns in the board?
Yeah.
Seeing that people don't want to obey or do their civic responsibility, what are the strategies that your organization or your office is putting in place to see that people pay their taxes the way they ought to pay?
Yeah, first of all, you have to make sure that this assess tax to the people, it is simple, and if you already have a tax liability, let's say you have a tax liability of 30 million, the interest and penalties, we could look at it on merit and say, okay, if we're waiving this interest and penalties, come forward and pay your tax. Those are the two incentives.
As it stands, what is the current method used in assessing private schools in Edo State?
Good. I hear all the hula baloo about the private schools, that their private schools are being assessed to tax.
They are being overtaxed.
Excuse me, I'm coming. They are being overtaxed. Okay, it's okay. We have not assessed any private school as institutions. What we have only done is to assess the proprietors of these private schools, and you come and pay your taxes. That's what we're saying. They are used to maintaining the status quo. They want to pay what they have been paying. When we came on board, we told them that the era of tax evasion and sharp practices are over. If you have made money, you have made profit from your school, we are taxing the individual. We are not taxing that school. I'm telling the general public today, the Edo citizens today, that if any school comes forward to say they've been taxed as a school, as an institution, I will forfeit my 3-month salary.
Oh.
Yeah.
You like to do that?
Yes, I will forfeit my 3-month salary. If an institution, Edo private schools have been assessed to tax, only the proprietors. As an individual, you must pay your taxes. And what we have done it professionally. They are used to maintaining status, doing it as usual. If you've made 100 million as a proprietor, and we are saying, okay, we've done the job professionally. There are what we call allowable expenses. We will look at your income you have made, the allowable expenses, which we allow and deduct your salaries, your wages, stationery, other things we deduct, and there are reliefs. Okay. And if this release, we grant you the release, there's Peter is the same all over in the country. The Peter we are using here in Edo State is what is available in Lagos State, in Kano State, in River State.
Okay, now, do you have a
there's nothing new that they've been. The challenge there is that school proprietors that have made so much as 150 million a year, and you are saying go and pay 3 million, go and pay 2.5 million. We're not even using BOJ. We have done it professionally, and we have given you have granted your allowable expenses and reliefs, and we are saying, okay, go and pay this because you are used to that culture of paying 60,000, 70,000, 80,000, and you want the status to remain.
Yeah.
No. Look at the state currently now. Look at the Excellency Senator Mondo Okpolo. You agree with me that this infrastructural revolution is doing so much to lift the state, take the state to the next level. So, and if we are to do that, we must encourage His Excellency.
Yeah, but you see, I think in as much as all of your explanation is quite erudite and germane, but let's look at the issue of, the first question is, what's the word of difference between a personal income tax and corporate tax?
Good.
That's the first question. The second question is, why do you think that they look at your regime as extremely driving taxes too hard? People will always resist change. And what they have always put on the table is that the monies that they are paying, they are not seeing commensurate relief or attendant infrastructural cooperation between the tax collectors and the tax.
Okay, good. Personal income tax, as the name implies, it's your own personal taxes. The corporate taxes and the Internal Revenue Service, those internal revenue saddled with the responsibility called let payee, your personal income tax, direct assessments, as in we don't tax if it has to do with enterprise. The corporate taxes are being that is outside our purview. That is the Federal Inland Revenue Service.
Okay.
Where you come of the company income tax, 10%, and co. So that is not what we are doing now. The private school you just talked about now. They are not a limited liability company, although I understand the Federal Revenue Service is trying to take them to that level. When they get to that level, the schools will be assessed to tax at that rate.
Okay.
Paying their tax to the Federal Revenue. But now it's not like that. What we are doing is to tell the school proprietors, pay, you made so much money, pay to the government so that the government will be able to carry out its civic responsibilities.
Such as what?
You can see, look at Ramat Park. You can see the massive project taking place there. First of its kind in Edo State. We're going to have flyover bridges. We're going to have good roads. The schools, you can see what the revolution taking place in school. Even our hospitals.
No, sir, but most of the cries, because we had one or two privileges to be here face to face with some of the proprietors, most of their concerns or their challenges is that, the new regime wants to overstretch them, thinking that the taxes they have to collect from their institutions, they're saying that they should bring data of how many children or how many people they have.
Now, that was the question.
Okay, good question.
Database.
Good question. First of all, our field officers went to the various schools.
Okay.
And they tried to do head count. There were resistances. They've come up with figures. We know that your school, you're having up to 1,000 students. You are telling us you have 300 students. Okay. We are using the 300 you are saying
to assess you.
We're using 300 to assess you. And even when we know some of them, we know the exorbitant school fees they're charging the citizens. But we don't even look at that. Then when I hear they are protesting, do you know I had a session with them? 2 hours, the executives. And I explained to them all that we'll be doing. And they were in, they agreed with me. I don't know what the hula baloo is all about now. And if you are to protest, there are much more responsible ways to exercise your grievances. You can object. If I have assessed you to task, you can do an objection letter. We will sit down and I'll expect you to bring all your evidences. Oh, ED, we didn't make 100 million like you thought. Bring your bank statements. I'm a forensic auditor. And you bring your bank statement, bring everything, we'll look at it. And if we have over-assessed you, we'll reverse it. The law empowers us to reverse.
No, let's look at the Nigerian factor in terms of tax collection and trust. You know, there's so much distrust in the system.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that hitherto, prior to this kind of administration that is seeming, I know that His Excellency Senator Kwewo has zero tolerance for, for fraud or for things that are not clear.
True.
Now, looking at all of these challenges and resistance, most, we're still talking about data. Don't you think that there could be some complicity from your tax office, because we have had incidences. Number one, it is not very sure whether your office have been able to graft the total number of private institutions, and whether those private institutions have been paying tax legitimately to government. Leakages. Some of your officers are alleged to go collect money from these people unscrupulously, and without data receipts to show. So, have you been able to work on these concerns? Because I know that there are some people that can be resistant. If you go to most of these private schools, they are not properly documented. They just open the private school and settle some people, the papers are not straight, and people are coming to collect money. Maybe from your office, I don't know whether you have any proof to that. Because they will say somebody come to take money here, and they always believe the back door. And so when you come up with keeping records straight, there can be resistance for any change, especially when it comes to collecting money from people. Because people believe that hitherto, the system is not working. The infrastructure, whatever, facilities are not there. How can you accredit a private school that doesn't have a lawn tennis court or a basketball court? They don't have proper equipment to run as a school at all, not anywhere in the cosmos. But you are running these institutions. It's not possible that you are more interested in what to collect than the legitimacy and delivery of educational facility to the people that are attending the schools.
Thank you very much. When we came on board, I called our staff and I told them the era of tax evasion, sharp practices are over.
Okay.
Well, that's why I said we are digitalizing the system now.
Yeah.
And such leakages, we are working on them to ensure that we surmount them.
Okay.
But even them, you don't have a perfect system.
Agreed?
And these school proprietors, because you want to pay 100,000, you want to pay 80,000, you declare that you have made 1.4, 1.6 million for the year. In actual fact, looking at your bank statements, looking at the number of students you have given to me,
yes,
and I found that that's not what you have made because you want to pay 80,000. But from H1, you say your income you have made is 1.8. H1 is you must declare for payee. From H1 you must submit that before 31st of January.
Okay.
From H1 I'm seeing that your wage expense is as much as 28 million.
Okay.
Your wage expense is as much as 37 million.
All of that?
So for us, we are saying we can no longer maintain status quo. Let's do it properly, legally, as in Peter.
Yeah.
So that is the situation, and there must be resistance when there is any change.
Okay,
yeah. And again, you talked about we have a governor who is actually out to ensure that the dividend of democracy gets to the grassroots, gets to the people. Yeah. And if it is so, what stops us from encouraging such a governor? You can as well as a taxpayer say, oh, I don't know what the government is doing with my money, I don't know what the government is doing with my phone, I will not pay. So I am going to challenge any of the school proprietors who feel or he or she feels that he has been so access to tax, or we have increased taxes so much, to come forward. Like the writer of the objection, come with your bank statements, come with your all the evidence that you have. Then we'll look at it and reverse it. And I doubt any of them will not do that. No, but because they know what we have done. They know what we have done is very fair. And I told them in the last session, do that. If you think we have access to so much, come with this evidence, come with your bank statements. If you have Zenith Access Bank, and we'll do a forensic tax investigation on you. Yeah. And you'll be shocked to know that.
Now, since you came on board, what changes have you made, to see that people pay their income taxes?
Well, we're not coming out with any hustle against anybody. They know we are sincere, they know we are fair. And for the first time, IGR of Edo State, we hit a mark of 10.6 billion. Not because our faces we are using hustle to chase the people. I think they believe in the system. They believe in new governor of Edo State, and they see the infrastructures here and there, and they say, okay, let us pay our taxes. And we have also gone to them to say, no, the era of tax evasion is over. Pay your taxes.
Okay. So what measures, like I asked before, what measures have you put in place to see that people pay their taxes? Because you're saying we are not going out there with horse whip to chastise these people.
But that's why I told you earlier on, we are digitalizing the process.
Okay. How far?
Real time, we're working on it. We're not through with it.
Okay.
We are still doing a test run on it. We're just, remember, this board is new. This government of Modokwe is new. We are just 3 or 4 months old. So, and I assure you, at the end of the day, the citizens will be happy, everybody will be happy.
Okay. Now let's come to the issue of tax evasion. Because why the proletariat, why the wretched of the air, the people like the downtrodden, feel a little bit resistant, because they feel that most of you elites don't pay tax. You pay taxes. That's what the average Nigerian businessman will say. Because we know that we are from a climate where people respect offices and all of that. Recently, we are aware of how wicked the FCT minister revoked the license of a political party's property, because for the past 30 years or 20 years that they have been existing, they refuse to pay tax. They sit on the system because they were in power. Now we have so many major generals, so many retired captains, corporals, inspectors, who you dare not go take taxes from their offices. So that's why at times when you come up with policies like that, so what have you put on ground to make sure that everybody is
on the tax net?
It's on the tax net. If not, you can have a lot of resistance and protest to all of it.
Thank God for the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu that says that we should not tax poverty. With the new tax regime that is coming on board, low-income earners will not be taxed. Which means I think the president is very, very proactive on that. The high net worth individuals you are talking about, they actually have the powers to fight the system. We know it. But the government of Senator Monday Okpewolo has empowered the revenue service to go out for all the high net worth individuals. It's no longer going to be business as usual. You must pay your taxes. You will see it coming in few weeks and a few months.
Okay. Now let's see, what relief do you have for? You've talked about President Bola Tinubu, you've talked about the high people, networking people. Now let's look at small businesses and other low income earners in Edo State. What relief? What kind of relief or what sort of place have you put in place to see that they are not taxed the way other individuals are taxed? Maybe the working class, the high and mighty in the society.
Well, the low-income earners, very soon with the new tax regime that is coming, they will not be assessed to tax. So those of them earning below 800,000. And you're talking about the presumptive taxes you're talking about now. This set of persons, what we do, when we know you have a small barbering salon, you have a small hairdressing salon, whatever, these taxes, what we tax them is usually very small, so that we can encourage their businesses. Those are not the people we're looking at. That's it. And I thank God President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is bringing that revolution in the tax system.
Now let's also look at this multiple taxation and people feeling that they are exploited. Let's go to the marketplace now. Around your CH or your headquarters where your office is established, you have this big market around there. And you take opinion from the people too, because governance is about people and their comfort. And most of these times, people run into men in the street. We don't know whether they are engaged by you. We have seen them, like your MD gave an instance where somebody was inside another vehicle, like a bus, and trying to force the key out of the owner, talking about paying some money like tax. We have a lot of illegitimacy, and we have seen so much public fighting because some people feel that most of those guys in the street are collecting these multiple taxes. It doesn't get to your office. So what do you put in place? Because now you can go through New Benin houses or even in the Cosmopolis. You can see some people just harassing somebody selling corn or some small wares, checking money like 500.
Even selling sachet water.
But I've seen, when you're driving, when you get to the gridlock of hold up and traffic and all that, you see some people. I saw one man one day selling beds. Another man was there telling the man selling beds in the street to pay some money for selling beds around the market for just standing in the street. And so all of this money goes down to people's pocket. And it paints another image because they feel that this is the administration that wants everybody to pay tax. So it's a taxing administration. If people feel aggrieved for overtaxing or exploitation, what channel, what is the exhaust pipe with which they can get some respite?
Thank you very much. You know, I'm happy you said these faceless people get about taxing the downtrodden.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not from the revenue service. Mind you, you also have the local governments.
Okay.
So very soon we're going to have that mutual relationship, that understanding with the local government to ensure that this issue of multiple taxation will be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But I assure you that most of the touts going around collecting this revenue, they are not from the service. But gradually, we are going to ensure that they are out of the streets.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I'm saying that this administration is a tax administration. No, it is not true. It's not correct.
Okay.
The administration is only saying pay the tax legally that is due to
People should
you.
be responsible,
Yeah, you must be responsible because it's your civic responsibility. That's what the administration is saying. But it's not saying you should pay the tax out of the ordinary.
under duress.
No, not on that.
Under
It's
duress.
simple.
Okay, before
and,
we allow you go, what advice do you have for Edo people towards paying their taxes and paying it promptly?
Well, Edo people, they are people that are very aware, their awareness is high, they are educated, and you only have resistances when there are changes. Most of these resistance are from the bourgeoisie. It's not from the poor masses. Because some of them understand that they need to pay their taxes. Sadly enough, yesterday I was just looking at my system. I saw somebody that I know very well, and I saw what I wanted to approve his payment. I saw he's paying as much as 2.9 million on his own willingly. And after the approval, I called him. You paid 2 million? I said yes, because I see what the government of Mondokweolu is doing. We must encourage him. So we have people like that coming forward on their own to pay their taxes. So you only need to advise, a little advice you give to Edo people. They are seeing. That is why you see we are having enhanced revenue generation system. That's why you see we just hit the second digit in Edo State.
It's about 10 million in 2 months.
10.2
billion in 2 months.
Yeah, it has never happened.
And what you see is about service delivery.
Yes.
Meeting up with the electoral promises and all of that. Infrastructure, that is changing the quality of life.
True.
When people are sent to the fact that they can trust the changes that are coming.
Yeah.
You put on your water borehole, it lights, you get water, you drive on the streets are better, you go to the market, and you can get, your quality of life improves along the line of government.
Yeah.
That's when people can be, you don't fight people to pay tax. They just need to benefit from.
In the advanced climb, that is why they have all the basic amenities. They have everything to themselves. You don't tell them to pay taxes, they just see them paying taxes.
Because the system is working.
Willingly paying because the system is working. And we're now having a system that is working in Edo State.
Okay.
We have a listening governor. We have a governor that says, oh, let's change the narrative. Let's take it to the next, let's take Edo State to the next level.
Okay.
And the citizens are saying, oh, pay. Mind you, these people that are protesting is politically motivated.
Okay.
Some of them, not that they don't know the truth, they know the truth. That's how challenging them, come forward, make your objections known. Let us look at it. We'll do a forensic examination of your books.
No, but you also need protest to work harder from your side.
Yeah, when you protest, you should protest genuinely, not out of sentiment.
Okay.
Okay, not out of sentiment,
No.
to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Well, we want to thank you so very much, Akhimien Idiake Patrick. Nice to know that you're here from Idiake Patrick.
Ekuma. Have you been there?
No, I've not
it's
been
not
there, but I've
Idiake,
been
Idiake.
Yes.
Idiake is
Yeah.
a West Local Government area, and you are a fellow of the prestigious Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICANN, the Chartered Institute of Taxation, and the Institute of Management Consultants of Nigeria. You've had various roles, including working with Admiral Overseas Nigeria Limited, and you are a principal partner at Idiake & Co. and serves as Chief Executive Officer, CEO of Patshare Farms Limited. You are active in community service. You are a member of the Lagos Country Club, the grand patron of the Esan Recreation Club in Ekpoma, and a patron of the Edo Central Market Women Association. Your humanitarian efforts have been recognized with several awards, including an award of recognition of your charitable contributions from the Nigerian Medical Association, NMA in Edo State, and the Nigerian Union of Journalists, Edo State Council. In both 2019 and 2023, you contested in elections the House of Representatives on the platform of the All Progressives Congress APC, aiming to represent the Esan West, Esan Central, and Igweben Federal Constituency. Okay, I would like to thank you so much for all of your perspectives.
And there's also an addition here
yes.
from the PR. It says it's good. It's noteworthy to also mention that he's the Executive Director of Income Taxes, Edo State Internal Revenue Board.
Okay.
That's his new assignment.
We just pray that you bring all of this word of experience to bear in Edo State. We want to thank you so very much for coming to our studio this morning. We do hope that when we call on you again, you will oblige us. Okay, we're taking a short break from this segment. Daybreak returns shortly. Please don't go away.
Thank you.